The year is 2008. A relatively unknown Marvel character is about to change cinema forever, but the man chosen to bring him to life was considered unemployable just 5 years earlier. This is the story of how one man's fall from grace became the foundation for the most successful film franchise in history. Robert Downey Jr. was born into Hollywood royalty. Son of counterculture filmmaker Robert Downey Sr., he made his acting debut at age 5 in his father's 1970 film Pound. By the 1980s, Downey was a rising star, part of Hollywood's Brat Pack. His breakout role in 1987's Less Than Zero saw him playing a drug addict, a performance that would prove eerily prophetic. His portrayal of Charlie Chaplin in 1992 earned him an Oscar nomination and seemed to cement his place among Hollywood's elite. But behind the accolades, a darker story was unfolding. June 23, 1996, speeding down the Pacific Coast Highway in his black Ford Explorer, Downey was pulled over by police. What they found would begin a very public spiral. The arrest became a pattern. The Goldilocks incident in July 1996, found unconscious in a neighbor's child's bed. Prison sentences, escape attempts. By 2001, Downey was effectively blacklisted from Hollywood. Rolling Stone described him as having the appearance of someone who had been through hell. Years later, Downey would reflect on this period, telling Vanity Fair, "Job one is get out of that cave. A lot of people do get out, but don't change." His firing from Ally McBeal in 2001 seemed like the final nail in the coffin. At 36, Robert Downey Jr. appeared to be finished in Hollywood. Enter Mel Gibson. In 2003, when no studio would insure Downey, Gibson personally paid his insurance bond for The Singing Detective. It was Downey's first lead role in years. Then came Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in 2005, directed by Shane Black. The noir comedy was a critical darling and marked Downey's true creative comeback, but it was another director who would change everything. Jon Favreau had been hired to direct Marvel's first self-financed film, Iron Man. The character was considered second tier, the budget was modest, and Favreau had an impossible choice to make. Favreau later revealed, "Much to my surprise, I really didn't fit any of the criteria for the kind of actor they thought they should cast." Marvel executives told him, "Under no circumstances are we prepared to hire him for any price." But Favreau saw something in Downey that others missed. As he told Texas Radio in 2014, "The best and worst moments of Robert's life have been in the public eye. He had to find an inner balance to overcome obstacles that went far beyond his career. That's Tony Stark." The parallels were undeniable. Both Downey and Stark were brilliant, troubled, charismatic figures who had hit rock bottom. Both needed redemption. The difference was that Downey had found his. Filming began in March 2007. Marvel executives were still nervous, but something magical was happening on set. Downey and Favreau were rewriting scenes nightly, crafting a character that felt authentic rather than generic. Downey explained to the Los Angeles Times, "What I usually hate about these movies is when suddenly the guy that you were digging turns into Dudley Do-Right. What was really important to me was to not have him change so much that he's unrecognizable." Iron Man premiered on April 30th, 2008. Even Marvel had low expectations. As Downey later revealed, not too many people were thinking Iron Man was going to have an opening weekend or do much of anything. It earned nearly $600 million worldwide, but more importantly, it proved that Marvel's gamble on both the character and the actor had paid off. Downey's initial salary was just $500,000, but his back-end deals and the film's success changed everything. By Avengers Endgame, he was earning $75 million per film, making him the highest-paid actor in Hollywood. Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios president, would later say, "I remember on later movies I would say, 'Robert, we wouldn't be in this mess if it wasn't for you,' meaning we wouldn't have a studio if it wasn't for you." Over 11 years and 10 films, Downey didn't just play Tony Stark, he became the emotional and commercial anchor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The MCU would go on to gross nearly $30 billion worldwide, but the numbers only tell part of the story. Downey's portrayal created a template for modern superhero films, flawed, complex characters who earned their heroism through personal growth. Yet today, Marvel faces unprecedented challenges. Phase 4 and 5 have seen declining box office returns, mixed critical reception, and what many call superhero fatigue. Films like The Marvels lost over $118 million, while Ant-Man Quantumania marked the franchise's creative low point. Critics and audiences alike have grown increasingly critical of Marvel's quantity over quality approach. July 27, 2024, San Diego Comic-Con. In a stunning twist, Marvel announced that Robert Downey Jr. would return to the MCU not as Iron Man, but as the villainous Dr. Doom. The deal reportedly exceeds $100 million, making it one of the largest actor contracts in Hollywood Hollywood history. But is it Marvel betting on nostalgia or a calculated move to recapture lightning in a bottle? Kevin Feige explained the decision. How can we not go backwards? How can we not disappoint expectations? How can we continue to beat expectations? The answer, it seems, is to turn to the man who started it all. Whether playing Tony Stark or Victor Von Doom, Downey brings the same qualities that made Iron Man a phenomenon: intelligence, complexity, and a hint of danger beneath the charm. Robert Downey Jr.'s journey from convicted felon to global superstar reads like the best kind of superhero origin story. His personal redemption became Tony Stark's redemption, and both transformed popular culture forever. Now, as Dr. Doom, he begins a new chapter. In a franchise built on second chances, perhaps no one understands the power of reinvention better than the man who lived it.